Guten Tag, liebe Schüler und Schülerinnen. Heute sprechen wir über Adjektivendungen. Today we are going to discuss adjective endings once more. Let's take a quick look at what you already know. You already know the endings after ein words. Okay, ein words are ein with its endings, mein, those are the possessives, mein, dein, sein, and also kein. Okay, you already know the nominative and accusative endings. Notice how they reflect the gender in the case of the noun that they're describing. We haven't talked about the dative yet, but here are the dative endings. Very, very simple because they're always en. Okay, I'm going to flip through the other charts quite fast. Because I just want you to have them just in case you want to go back to it. But I would like for you, for the purpose of figuring out which ending to use, I would like for you to use a much simpler method than memorizing charts. Okay, so we're just going to go through those charts real fast and then move on. Okay, so nach der Wörtern, our chart looks like this. We have, again, in the dative, we have all the ens. Plural, we have all the ens. And we have an en here in the masculine accusative, but otherwise we have es, okay? So don't get scared with those charts. You will not have to memorize them, okay? How about this one here? If there is no article in front of your noun, when does that happen? Happens when an indefinite number of nouns in the plural isn't preceded by an article, or it happens sometimes in the singular as well. And this is the chart that we will be using at this point. This is a chart that you're gonna see again and that you are gonna have to remember. Okay, so let's take a quick look at our method of dealing with those adjective endings in an easier way. Okay, so when you have to put an adjective ending, the first question you want to ask yourself is, the article that is in front of my adjective, does it reflect the gender of the noun that it describes? So, for example, if you see something like, hold on, let me get my pen ready here. There we go. If you see something like der Mann, we know that der, it's masculine, right? We know that Mann is masculine. So is the gender reflected here in the der? Yes, it is. How about eine eine Tasche? We know that when an ein has an e at the end, it must be feminine, and indeed it is die Tasche, so it does reflect the gender. Now I'm going to caution you because we also learned something like this. Mit is a dative preposition, okay? So if I have something like this, there's a der, okay? I have the der here, but this does not reflect the gender of this, because this, if I look at this, then I might think the gender of woman is masculine, but we know that it's not. This is die in the dative, okay? So, no, This one, it would not be. It has to reflect the gender of the noun. So it has to be a der, die, and das. Der, masculine, die, feminine, das, neutral, and this one here is also feminine, okay? Notice also the plural does not work, okay? Not plural. All right, so if this is true, then our ending is E. So we would say der alte Mann, die eine große Tasche. Okay? So der, die, das, or eine, truly reflecting the gender of the noun, add an E. Simple enough. Second one. What if the gender is not reflected at all? It's not reflected because we have an ein. Well, ein could be either masculine or it could be masculine or it could be neutral, okay? Mann, masculine, Kind, neutral. So if it's not reflected, then we have to do something else, because now remember the adjective endings, the purpose really is to identify the gender in the case of the noun that it describes. So now if we don't have an article or we have an ein that is kind of could be either masculine or neutral, we have to become more specific. Okay, and this is what our chart looks like. The chart itself, you've seen something like this before, okay? When we learned how to do der, die, das, remember we said der, die, das, and die in the plural. We have the last letter there, and then den, die, das, die. So you already know all these endings, okay? You just have to remember that if the gender is not reflected in front of the adjective, that we have to use those endings, okay? So here we have dem, der, dem. Please stop this video at any time. And den. Den plus n means that, for example, if my plural is Kinder, that we have to add another n, okay? So please stop the video at any time that you feel like you're getting confused or this is going a little bit too fast and you need to reflect, or you need to write something down, or you need to write down a question for me. Please do so, okay? All right, so we've done the gender is reflected with der, die, das, or eine, and we've done the gender is not reflected because there is an ein in front of it or no article at all. And now comes our last one. If number 1 and number 2 were not true, then easy enough, all other adjective endings are en. And that is it for today. Das ist alles für heute. Please watch the video again if you had any questions. Watch it again, stop it, take notes, write down questions, and please ask me for help. Und das war alles für heute. Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal.